From missing a game to going fishing to getting a standing ovation for catching a hot dog wrapper and to being so high but still playing an impressive game, baseball has some of the weirdest and funniest stories in sports history. In this video, we'll be telling you the wackiest and probably unbelievable facts about Major League Baseball that will blow your mind, so keep watching. Beginning the list is baseball connoisseur Rube Waddell. Rube Waddell is considered the strongest and weirdest man in baseball history. Honestly, everything about Waddell was weird. The man was born on Friday the 13th and passed away on April Fool's Day. Can that get any weirder than that? There are so many funny and weird stories about Rube Waddell, but let's tell you some that we found pretty funny and exciting. The left-handed pitcher was so good he sometimes told his fielders behind him to sit and do absolutely nothing because he was going to strike out the side, and he absolutely did that. This man would do that while somersaulting and doing cartwheels between the dugout and mound. While playing outstanding games, he would take food from the spectators in the ballpark and, after eating, wash down the food with some beer that, you guessed right, he took from fans. If the fans didn't like that, he would fight them. He got suspended from several offenses and was even sent out of a team just after 2 days of joining the team. Despite all these, he still dominated baseball. He even made it to the Hall of Fame. Honestly, those were simpler times. The guy drank so much that his manager, Connie Mack, forced him to stay in his room before every major game, which didn't always work out. We can say Rube Waddell lived his life to the fullest. From playing with alligators to shooting his friend in the hand, collecting food from the fans, saving 13 people's lives, surviving getting bit by a lion, missing a game to go fishing, to having a season strikeout record that stood for 61 years, he indeed lived a weird, funny, but full life. Next, we have Ty Cobb. The day Ty Cobb hit 3 home runs. In the 1920s, the center fielder was upset about how people were more excited to see bombs than well-placed bunts and slap singles. Trying to prove that it took less skill to hit home runs and that he could hit home runs like Babe Ruth, Ty Cobb told a reporter he'd go for home runs for the first time in his career. And at the age of 38, he went 6 for 6 with 3 home runs and a double. In the next game, he hit 2 more home runs, making it 5 homers in 2 consecutive games, which is something that had not been done before, even by Babe Ruth. Isn't that impressive? Still on Ty Cobb, it'll be weird if we didn't tell you about one of baseball's wackiest stories. In a game against the Highlanders in New York, Tigers' Ty Cobb was so enraged by a heckler named Claude Lucker, who kept hurling insults at him, that he charged into the stands and attacked the man, punching and beating him. Lucker had lost his hand in an industrial accident, so he can defend himself. Cobb beat the man to a pulp, and after being pulled off the man, he was escorted out by a cop and an umpire. Following the incident, the commissioner of baseball, Van Johnson, suspended Cobb, which then led to baseball's first strike. Talking about strike, we have Alan Traver, known as the Reverend Aloysius Stanislaus, who has a short baseball career. Due to the suspension deemed unfair as Cobb was not allowed to state his side of the story, his teammates boycotted their next game, resulting in the first strike in baseball. When the then Tigers manager, Huey Jennings, heard of the boycott, he recruited some people to replace the Tigers players to avoid a forfeit of the game. The Tigers lost the game to the Yankees 24-2. One of the replacement players was Alan Travers, a 20-year-old violinist at the time. Travers went out for the Tigers as he pitched baseball's most unlikely complete game. He faced 50 batters through 8 innings, had 26 hits, 24 runs, 14 earned runs, 7 walks, and a strikeout. After being threatened by Johnson that if he did not return to play, they would be suspended for life, Cobb admonished his teammates to return to play, which they did, ending Alan Travers' one-day baseball career. Don't be surprised, as he later became a priest. Did you know that there are many MLB stars, including players like Moises Alou, Jorge Posada, and Kerry Wood, that have admitted that they urinate on their own hands during the baseball season to toughen their grip? Seems like a pretty strange way to make that happen, but to each his own. Moving on to the next, we have Dave Winfield arrested for killing a bird. While playing for the Yankees in 1983, Dave Winfield threw a warm-up ball in the middle of the 5th inning and hit a seagull with a thrown ball, killing the seagull. He was later arrested after the game for deliberately hitting the seagull with the ball and charged with animal cruelty. However, the Yankees manager at the time, Billy Martin, stated that Winfield did not possess the needed accuracy to deliberately hit a bird with a thrown ball, as that was the first time Winfield hit the cutoff man all year. Somehow, Winfield made it to the Hall of Fame despite not allegedly possessing the skills. We wonder how that happened. Speaking of birds, in March 2001, there was another dead bird incident. In a game between the Diamondbacks and the Giants, a white dove flew through Randy Johnson's pitch and exploded in a shower of white feathers. Unfortunately, the beautiful white dove did not survive the hit. Next, we have Dick Stewart with the strangest standing ovation. Dick Stewart, also known as Dr. Strangelove or Stonefingers, played in the MLB from 1958 to 1966 and later 1969 returned to play one last season. His nicknames were not without reason. The first baseman led the league in errors for 7 consecutive seasons. 1958 to 1964, basically more than half of his career time. Now, isn't that another kind of impressive? He holds a record of 29 errors at first base, which is still unbeaten for that position. One night during a game at Pittsburgh, Stewart received a standing ovation from 30,000 fans for catching a flying hot dog wrapper. Isn't that hilarious? Which other baseball player do you know has as many errors? Let us know in the comment section. Next, we have Ray Caldwell, who was struck by lightning. Ray Caldwell was referred to as one talented pitcher who possessed a self-destructive streak that many believe in having prevented him from reaching his potential. Speaking of how great he was, while playing for the Cleveland Indians in a game against the Philadelphia Athletics, Caldwell was struck by lightning and literally passed out. However, after waking up a few minutes later, Caldwell refused to leave the game, insisting on playing. Despite the accident, after pitching 8 innings, Caldwell was somehow able to record the final out for the win. Now that is one determined baseball player. That's motivating. MLB's loyalty to New Jersey mud. Since 1938, MLB has used a specific mud in New Jersey to prepare its baseball and has never deflected. MLB has partnered with Lena Blackburn Rubbing Mud, which uses mud from the Delaware River to prepare new baseballs. MLB spends about $20,000 to $25,000 on mud every year. The mud helps create a good grip for baseball players. Despite the special Delaware mud, umpires still rub about 6 dozen of baseballs in mud before every game to further improve the rough surface, good grip of the baseballs. Also, did you know that umpires rubbing baseballs in mud is part of the rules of MLB? We've heard everything from swapping phones to swapping food or even trading players. But swapping families? That's not common. How's that even possible? It was possible for the then Yankees player Mike Kekich and Fritz Peterson, who managed to pull it off. The two baseball players not only swapped wives, but their children too. How did it all happen? When Kekich joined the Yankees 3 years after Fritz Peterson, they quickly became excellent friends. After several double dates with both couples spending time with each other, the baseball players realized they were in love with each other's wives and decided to swap wives since they all felt the same. They decided it would be better for the kids to go with their mothers, so they ended up swapping entire families. Although Mike Kekich and Marilyn had an on and off kind of relationship which didn't last, Peterson and Suzanne have been standing strong and have been married for over 2 decades now. And they spoke about, even after so many years, they're still in their honeymoon phase. Now, isn't that just weirdly cute? Are there any other weird or funny MLB facts you know? Tell us in the comments section. Be sure to check out more incredible baseball videos at Baseball Plus. See you there.